that's the question that investigators have, I think, is why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to, you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Does it bother you that he keeps talking about 2020 and not 2024? I'll ask you first. This is Jonathan Leslie. He's 40, Republican, voted for Trump twice. How do you feel about those lies?
So I feel like part of it's also the media narrative, as you guys asked him the first question at the town hall about the 2020 election, rather than current stuff.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here. Let's have a conversation about this ridiculous CNN town hall with Donald Trump. An absolute embarrassment, not only to CNN, but to the country and our political discourse. Kaitlan Collins, a nasty woman? Yeah, pretty much a correct statement. It was nasty. It was ridiculous. It was absurd. And you know what the best part is? CNN had a panel of viewers who roasted them afterwards for being so terrible and refusing to focus on any real issues and only paying attention to the 2020 election. They did that. Not Donald Trump, not viewers. Kaitlan Collins and CNN did that.
There's 8 people were with. They were in the audience. What they also have in common is none of them have voted in the past for either Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton. 6 of them voted for Donald Trump in the past. 1 didn't vote in the past 2 elections. 1 was too young to vote. But that's what they have in common, that most of them are Trump supporters. What I want to ask you first of all is, do you think, show of hands, anybody think Donald Trump looks better after this town hall? Any of you think he looks worse? Any of you think the same thing about him as you did when you walked in? So all of you feel that way. First thing I want to ask you about, Donald Trump, we have to be blunt about it, is not a truth teller. That's the way he's always been when he was a businessman, when he's been a politician. He has lied about the 2020 election. Stuffed ballot boxes, it's all made up. He's lost dozens of court cases. Does it bother you that he keeps talking about 2020 and not 2024? I'll ask you first. This is Jonathan Leslie. He's 40, Republican, voted for Trump twice. How do you feel about those lies?
So I feel like part of it's also the media narrative, as you guys asked him the first question at the town hall about the 2020 election, rather than current stuff.
So don't you think he could say it's time for me to start talking about 2024 and not lies that aren't true?
Couldn't the media ask him a question about 2024?
Well, there were questions, but you're right, that was the first thing, but that's something that was on our mind, and that's why I was asked first. Mike McLaughlin, he's 21. He is undeclared, which is what you do in New Hampshire if you want to be independent, but he voted for Trump in 2020. Mike, same thing to you. What do you feel about Trump continuing to talk about those mistruths from 2020?
Personally, I'm getting tired of hearing about it. I'm very much more so interested in the problems that we face now, and I would prefer to hear him discuss the present issues more so than going to the past.
And it wasn't just those viewers. Superstar Congressman Byron Donalds from Florida, he took CNN to task on this as well in front of an entire panel of people who were like, oh, Donald Trump wouldn't stop talking about 2020, wouldn't stop lying. And he says, well, why are we even talking about this?
And if you listen to the last segment with Jake, everything that was just talked about is not on the minds of independent voters in America. They are focused on the things that are affecting their families. First and foremost, has my child actually caught up from being locked out of schools for 2 years? Is fentanyl, which is a major issue in so many communities around our country, is the president going to do the job of securing our border and stopping the drug cartels from having operational control of our southern border? Are we going to maintain the dollar as the world's reserve currency while China's trying to negotiate around the United States? Inflation, yes, the year-over-year number is trending down, but the impact of inflation on the American family has completely devalued their wages over the last 2 years. Those are the things that really matter to Americans.
And to be clear, the reason we're talking about it is because they cannot get over it. Donald Trump cannot get over it. CNN cannot get over it. They are all obsessed with this issue. There is so much more going on in the world than this stuff, yet they cannot stop talking about it because they believe calling Donald Trump an election denier is how you get Joe Biden back into the presidency. My grades for this, very clear here. CNN, they get an I because they did not even finish. They stopped at 75 minutes instead of 90. Donald Trump gets a C, A for effort. He went hard, but he didn't really deliver. So he gets an F on delivery, and he gets a C combined. Joe Biden gets an A because he escaped. Didn't have to hear anything about Joe Biden and his crime family. and then Kaitlan Collins gets an F because she was just an embarrassment to journalism, and all of us watching this, we get an F as well.